What is up? It is I, your podcast bestie, Dani Marie. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, 12:45 p.m. PST. If you don't know, I help podcasters launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts. And if you have a business, I can help you too, because I can put you in position to best align your brand, product, or services with a podcast platform that already has engagement and is already in front of a niche audience. So get in touch with me if interested. Today, we're just talking about the first of the month, it being June. We're a few weeks away from, for the most of us here in Washington State at least, a few weeks away for our kids getting out of school, summer break. And for me, it means so much. I want to share a little bit about what this all means for me, what things I plan to change. And then we, of course, are going to sprinkle in some pop culture, some podcasting, and AI. So first and foremost, I got my water jug. You guys, this is not necessarily a habit that I've been good at, which is drinking my water and staying hydrated. I know some of you who are wellness gurus and you are fitness gurus, you have your regimen and your routine. I always start and I stop. I start and I stop. I have never been a disciplined person. I'm always just kind of going with the flow, never had a regimen, never been regimented. The only thing I can say that I've actually stayed the course is like when I was in college, right? And I was getting through school from my associate's to my master's degree. That's probably the only thing I can say I stuck it all the way through. And it wasn't even consecutively, it was sporadic for the most part. So I'm really happy about the fact that I'm starting my new regimen. So I have my water. I've bought so many of these. What happens is I'll get in a nice little rhythm and then something will break the rhythm and I'm just kind of like falling apart after about a week or two. And so you can pick these up at Dollar Tree. I like this particular water bottle because, and it's not $1, by the way, it's $5 at Dollar Tree, but I like this water bottle because it gives you the reminders with the affirmations alongside them. So 7 a.m., good morning. 9 a.m., let's get started. 11 a.m., remember your goal. 1 p.m., keep it up. 3 p.m., halfway there. 5 p.m., you can do this. And 7 p.m., don't quit now. So I think that this is something I plan to keep up with for a very long time because some of you may or may not know, depending if you follow me on social media, I announced that not only do I have low iron, but it got to a point where they wanted to give me a blood transfusion because I am just so dehydrated and not getting everything that my body needs. So this is just a start. I didn't want to do the blood transfusion. I was a little, just with the whole Western medicine, with all of the hospitals, with the emergency rooms, with the doctors, I'm just kind of not feeling it. So I'm trying to have more control over, more autonomy and more control over the things that I consume and put in my body, and at least have more control over my health and my wellness. And that includes something so simple as drinking my water every day, getting my necessary water intake for the day. So this is huge for me, but it also signifies something much bigger. So over the weekend, I did a thing. Some of you may use your daily devotions, or some of you might use your Bible, or you might use a calendar to keep you on track. For me, those things work until they don't. So what I did was customize my own using Lovable. Lovable.dev, though I am not endorsed or sponsored by Lovable, I am an affiliate. And Lovable to me is just so useful because with Lovable, you can create your own app, your own landing page, your own calendar. So I want to give you a quick little preview, just a little sneak peek of something that I created customizable to me. So I told Lovable my goal for the month of June is to, and some of you may or may not know this, stop smoking marijuana. Stop smoking weed. I don't even use marijuana. I was just trying to be politically correct on YouTube, but you know what? I'm not even monetized yet. So stop smoking weed. I'm not heavy into smoking. I am, however, a person, I need my joint, I need my pre-roll, and I go through like one pre-roll a day, right? So I want to stop smoking my weed. I want to drink more water. I want to read my Bible. I want to work out. These are things that many of you already do so well, but not everybody has the discipline, including myself. In 40 years, I'm like, girl, you got to get it together, because look at how much time has passed. But 40 years old doesn't mean like it's all lost. You have a chance to get things back on track. You have a chance to course correct. My favorite saying is another day, another opportunity. I think I coined that because I've been saying it for as long as I can remember. Another day, another opportunity. So now into my 40s, I turned 40 May 18th. There has to be some changes with my mood, with my upkeep, with my intake, all of those things. So I set these goals for myself. And like I said, no other calendar or no other devotional was speaking directly to my pain points. So stop smoking weed, start doing my daily devotion, start working out, and a few other things. So I'm going to share with you very quickly. I think I'll start doing this on my social media, where I'm going to take you day by day on my journey of trying to keep this all up. But I am going to give you a preview of exactly what I created. Just me speaking out my thoughts, saying exactly what I feel like is missing and exactly what things I wanted to change and what I wanted to see to help me hit my benchmarks for the month of June. What I love about the month of June, it starts on the 1st and it ends on the 30th. So I just feel like, this is doable. And so I'm holding myself accountable. And again, I'm going to be sharing it all across my social media, my daily tracking, and I'm going to share across my social media me tracking my progress, because I don't know what I just said. But anyways, I digress. Let me show you very quickly, because I'm actually very proud of this. And then I think I will do something separately where I teach a webinar or something, going over how exactly I created this. Again, Lovable is cool because you could speak your thoughts and instantly see your project come to fruition. But some of you may need a little more work. So I will put together a nice little session where I'm going over this in particular, probably after my 30 days, to make sure like I complete the 30 days. That's probably when I'll do my first webinar, but I will still do like a daily vlog tracking my progress. But anyhow, let me just show you a quick preview of what my June reset looks like. All right, so I said I need a to-do list, something that I can easily add and remove and cross things off. So boom, there's my to-do list. It's like a sticky pad. So today, for today's date, I wanted to get the sticky note so that I can add it to my mirror to remind me everything that I said in my goals. I needed pens so I can write it out. I needed my water jug, which I got early this morning. I'm going to go get my gym membership activated today, and then I'm deciding if I'm still going to do Podmatch or not. But I reached out to a bunch of people on Threads, and I'm getting some great responses, but I am looking for podcast guests. So I may or may not do the Podmatch thing if Threads turns out to be successful. Like with all of the responses that I'm getting, I think it got 1,000 views and a lot of hits. I haven't even opened up Threads since I made the post last night. So Podmatch is just a guest matching platform. And actually, Alex reached out to me last week and asked me if there was anything he can do to help me, because he found my group and he is the founder of Podmatch. So I'm kind of also waiting for his response to determine whether or not I'm going to go to Podmatch. But the sticky note, with my to-do list on a day-to-day. Now you might ask, well, you can use your notepad. I've done all of it. I have like a million trillion notes in my phone just for me to like get it out, but it's not anything that I go back and check to help me actually check off the list. So I'm working on it. There's my sticky pad. Now, my June reset. This is what it looks like. So this is like day 1. And every day I need to go to this homepage. And every day I'm going to read off one of these affirmations, right? My goals are here. I have a monthly goal worksheet, and I'm going to be checking these things off. And then the 30-day breakdown. So today is all about consecration. And with that comes a scripture. And again, this is what I wanted, right? I said these were my goals. I want to hear scriptures that align with my goals. And so everything to do with me stop smoking, to me turning 40, to me needing to work out, to me breaking the generational curses within my family. I said all of that, and I want the content to be structured as such. So there's that, the tracking right here, and all created on Lovable, right? So it's customizable to me. So all of these other daily devotionals, they're great, but they don't really fit my lifestyle. So therefore, I prioritize things that are more personal to me. And so it never really worked out. But now I have this, and I'm so excited. And I already have been doing pretty well, as you saw. And so that's that. I'm not going to even go into it any further. But I'm on my journey to hit all of my benchmarks for the month of June. The first of the month feels like newness, feels like payday, feels like new goals if you're not waiting until the new year to set new goals for yourself. So I know we all get excited around this timeline. I'm curious for all of you who are watching, whether you're commenting live or you're watching the replay, what is even one goal that you have for the month of June? Like for me, I told you everything that I'm doing, but it's also, summer break coming up, and I'm going to be starting another cool thing with my kids called the Boy Moms Club. So that's another thing. But what is it for you? It might be something totally different. It might be treating yourself. It might be traveling out of town. Whatever your goal is for the month of June, I want to support you. So comment in the chat, and I will send you some words of affirmation regarding what it is. And I will be praying for you that you check off your to-do list. And I pray that you pray for me as well. Also, what else did I want to talk about? So, of course, we got to talk about the whole Jay-Z at the Roots Park. Wait, what is it? Roots Picnic, excuse me. We have to talk about that. Of course, AI, of course, podcasting. But was there any other announcement that I wanted to address? Oh, we were supposed to be doing our June cohort. About 4 or 5 people reached out to me expressing interest in the cohort. And then when I sent them the price, I never heard from them again. Mind you, the price and all of the details is listed on the website. So I don't know why the sudden change of heart, because even after you looked on the website and you saw the price, you still reached out to me. And then there was even one person, and I told her, okay, the price, if you want to do the one full payment, the price is this. And she was like, yes. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to send you the invoice, and never heard from her again. So to that, I don't mind. I'm not changing my price because I do so many things for free. I'm kind of getting tired of doing all of this stuff for free because it's not helping me get to my next level, because I'm still trying to help everybody as much as I can. But I realize you can't bring everybody with you. And for the people who really value what I have to offer, they will pay. So my price is my price. And again, my price was so that I can take you for 4 weeks from your podcast hobby to a podcast business. So people expressed interest, they reached out to me, everything was listed on the website, and they still didn't follow through. I guess that comes with the territory. But I say that to say that we're not doing the June cohort because people didn't sign up. I'm not mad. But for those people who are still struggling, like every day I see somebody else saying, I'm struggling with my podcast, nobody's paying attention. You got a friend in me. I can only do so much for free. If you're really serious and you take what you do seriously, then you'll pay the price. And again, I try to do it so that it's a cohort, so you're amongst other people and it's not just you. But again, the cohort, just to go over it, I'm going to share that too. Because my price, if you go to anybody else, you're going to pay a lot more. People are paying like upwards of $1,250 to $5,000. But I'm not trying to harp on that because that's not what this is about. I'm just saying that you might see me do more because I'm not doing the cohort this month because people didn't actually sign up for the cohort. So here we go. Launch. If you go to plantapodcast.com/launch, I'm going to tell you exactly what would have been included. And this is what takes you from just doing this as a hobby to, thank you for the question. In terms of reviews, or in terms of like, if I was to say who I worked with, you wouldn't know the people, but I've been building my podcast community for the past 4 years or so. And so I've helped about 400 plus people launch, grow, or monetize their podcast. I've helped people in my community. So what does that mean? That means helping them with their storefront. That means helping them with their analytics and taking that information and that data and research to create something long-term, increase their downloads, or help them refine and polish what they're already doing, helping people with their marketing strategy, helping people with their social media, helping people find the right tools and AI resources. But in this case, I do feel like a lot of stuff that you hear about podcasting, a lot of the stuff you can do on your own. It's just going to take you a lot more time. You don't know the people. So I don't know why you would want me to list off the names. But if you're actually a part of my community, then you would know. So you have to join Podcast Peeps, the Facebook group online, to actually know, like, she actually does help a lot of people. So in terms of what the offer was going to be, let me pull it up. Nope, this is still my reset. My apologies. Stop sharing this one to share this one. But I don't run from a question, so I appreciate it. And I appreciate the engagement. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, 12:45, giving you AI, podcasting, and pop culture updates. And again, follow us on Podcast Peeps or podcastpeeps.com if you want to be a part of our community. We meet every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, here we go. All right, so a 4-week podcast cohort. Build your brand, find your niche, get legal, go from launch and growth in your podcast, because I feel like a lot of people are stagnant. The same people are not downloading at the rate that they once were. There's lack of engagement. People are not leaving the reviews and the comments. So that's very small scale. That's like very entry level, right? But I'm talking about taking things to the next level. So this is what people saw on the landing page, and they reached out. They said they want to do the payment plan, or they say they want to do the payment in full. And then when you send them your invoice, it's a no-show. Perfectly okay. But Do you have the right back end in place? Do you have the right structures? Are you building on somebody else's platform, or are you building your own platform? Do you have a trademark for your name? Did you even research any of the podcast directories or business directories to make sure the name isn't taken? Do you have a strategy for the times you hit listener growth and things feel stagnant? Do you know how to break past that threshold? Are you posting on the day that your episode goes live and that's the only podcast promotion strategy that you have? Or are you doing things around the clock? Do you know where to meet your audience, whether it's online or in person? Are you using the right platforms? And again, I'm not talking about, okay, Buzzsprout, Red Circle, RSS.com. I'm talking about a whole structure where everything feeds into itself. Do you have a funnel? Are you using your podcast to promote your product, brand, or services? Do you have an ecosystem that you're building? Are you organizing all of your files in such a way that if somebody wanted to buy out your entire podcast and you have a clean exit, do you have everything in place? Are you documenting your process? Are you tracking your analytics and storing that information so that if somebody wanted to buy you out, you can clearly communicate to them exactly what your progress has been, who your audience is. A lot of people I work with can't even explain who their audience is. It's always, whoever wants to listen. Well, no brand or no sponsor is really going to get behind that if you're just saying whoever wants to listen. You need to clearly communicate. You should be treating your podcast like it's a business if you plan on doing this long term. And many of you don't have a CRM, meaning customer relationship management tool. You don't have automations in place. You don't really have things that are in place. Even if you don't record an episode, things can still be on autopilot. Do you have like a webinar that you offer? Do you have a community that you're building up? All of those things were the things that we were teaching in this cohort. Week 1, foundation and IP. Week 2, the infrastructure. Week 3, visibility and monetization. Week 4, audit and reviewing each other's podcasts and determining, what is a good monetization strategy for what it is that you're doing. I work with people who have sports podcasts. I work with people who have wellness podcasts. I work with people who have legacy building podcasts. And there should be, no matter what type of podcast it is, you should have some type of monetization strategy. I work with people who turn their podcast episodes into conversation cards. Now they're going into the schools and they're doing curriculums and coaching. So all of that stuff you could actually extract from your previous episodes to create something, like I said, an ecosystem where people can get more than one thing from you. The podcast should just be the appetizer. And then everything that falls underneath that, the different courses, right? And then you have the main dish, like your high ticket offer. All of those things are things that we're offering. Now, I understand it's a very critical time. I understand that things are not cheap. I understand $200 a week is not an easy thing to just give away to somebody. I understand $750 is a lot for some people. We are helping you get and earn back your first $500. But I don't try to do a lot of coaxing. I don't try to pull a lot of people's arms. I just look at people constantly complain about how they're struggling and how people are not listening and how they hit a plateau on their podcast. And meanwhile, I'm going to still be doing what I do. People hit me up and ask for free information. For the most part, I still give it. But at a point, it's going to be like, well, I tried to help you guys as much as I could, but you guys didn't never want to take that next step. So it is what it is. And this is why it's something that I also offer quarterly, right? And not around the clock. I do a 5-day free Launch Your Podcast sprint, helping you get on a platform called Substack. But that's probably the only other free thing that I do, except for the podcast itself, this live stream, and the group. Other than that, it's like you have to take the next step if that's what you're wanting to do. So enough on that. And thank you again for the Question Bad Guys pod. Let me see something here. I think the best way for me to share, because I feel like you're berating me in the comments right now. The best way for me to share, instead of you continuing to ask me, because I already said go to podcastpeeps.com. So, or even plan a podcast. Since you're asking me who, I'll do the step for you. I'll do the step for you. Plantopodcast.com. Here you go. These are some of the names of the people. These are some of the trainings that I've done in the past. This is the community that we're building with the moderators. We recently got back from Atlanta and attended the Black Effect Podcast Festival, and these were the people that attended. So we actually meet in person as well, not just online. In our next meetup, we're taking a group to North Carolina in August. So yeah. And sidebar, later today, you guys, if you go to plantopodcast.com/watch party, we're going to be opening a room later today at 4 p.m. To watch the video of Jay-Z at the Roots picnic. That should be a lot of fun. So the details about the watch party on plantopodcast.com/watch party. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. DJ Steady is a resident editor. So he's only somebody that we're using to help edit our, so like if somebody wants to come to the group and they're like, I'm looking for someone to edit my content or edit my podcast, we're recommending people to DJ. So he's one of our people. If you actually have an expertise in podcasting, let me know, and maybe we can also work with each other just on a collaboration level. But yeah, he is not anyone that I've personally helped. He was someone highlighted as one of the resident editors. And then you saw him next to our moderators. But let's get into the topic of the hour. So, I talk all things podcasting, AI, and pop culture, just so that you don't have to do the research, because I'm going to do it for you. First things first is podcast and creator economy news. So the power of live audio hold on, because I feel like this is not what I had. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to Black Effect Podcast Festival. So I was explaining that the Black Effect Podcast Festival happened in April. We took some of our podcasters out there. We had an amazing time. We did write the blog on it. And let's see if I can drop it in the chat. As a matter of fact, that's on podcastpeeps.com. And every Saturday after we meet, we have a new blog. But in this case, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but just in general, Black Effect Podcast Festival is partly put on by Black Effect, the network, and then iHeartMedia, and then Charlemagne the God is pretty much the face behind the brand, right? And so I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but Charlemagne the God has like a $200 million contract to be on Netflix. That was working out really well. And then they recently made the announcement that not only are they going to be on Netflix, but they're doing it live. And I think that's going to happen sometime this week, that they move from, I guess, pre-recorded, taking their content and uploading it to Netflix, to now a live show, including all the behind the scenes. So to recap a little bit about what happened, and I'm dropping this in the chat. Recapping the Black Effect Podcast Festival a little bit, because I don't know why that's in my daily briefing. But the 2026 Black Effect Podcast Festival just wrapped in Atlanta, proving that live podcasting is turning into digital content in a massive shared cultural experience. Headlined by Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy. And actually, DJ Envy didn't really headline it. Lauren LaRosa and Charlemagne the God. The event featured live tapings from heavyweights like, what is this? Oh, you guys, I did not check this daily briefing, and this is the power of AI, also the pros of AI. So it was not headlined by DJ Envy, though DJ Envy did attend, and these were not. This is not the full exhaustive list, but yes, Don't Call Me White Girl, Big Mona, shout out to her. She was on the stage with Dominique. Dominique is a trans person, and Dominique actually just came out of jail. I think they served 30 days in jail, and they've been online ever since they released, and they've been laying people out. But Don't Call Me White Girl, or Big Mona, was on the stage, as well as Kev on stage, as well as Tika Sumpter, and so many others. So that was an amazing time. Industry data shared at the event revealed that 75% of listeners say a podcast host's influence matters most to them, making audio hosts 5 times more influential than standard social media trend chasers. Also, the in-house creator room, corporate brands are fundamentally changing how they view creator talent. Rather than treating podcasters and influencers as external marketing line items, enterprise companies are hiring them as permanent in-house executives. This follows a broader industry movement toward creator-led corporate growth. It's another thing that I talk about a lot. If you go through some of my recent live streams, you should be building your own creator economy. So it's great that we're using all of these platforms. I encourage being platform agnostic, meaning you're everywhere, platform agnostic or omnipresent across social media, with keeping your audience in mind, of course, your target audience in mind. But also, you should also at the back end be working on your own platform as well, right? Because when all of these platforms crumble, or when they all make them subscription based, you need to have something to fall back on. So you should be building your own email list. You should be building your own platform. Yes, Patreon is cool. Yes, school is cool. Yes, PayHit is cool. But are you building your own, right? So that's another thing that we would have been talking about in the cohort, but it's something that I encourage, and I'm starting to see this permeate all over social media, all over the interwebs, that we're moving into a space where, yeah, your influence is great. Micro influencing is even better, actually, because you're building your own niche audience, but creator-led corporate growth. How well are you building your own infrastructure, and how well are you building your own community, where authentic storytelling is treated as a core product strategy? Last thing under the creator economy news, the streaming era's next leap. Netflix and iHeart have significantly deepened their video podcast integration. The Breakfast Club, featuring Charlemagne the God, DJ Envy, and Just Hilarious, is officially broadcasting live daily on Netflix. This marks a massive transition of legacy syndicated radio firmly into premium streaming first territory. There's a lot of people that complain, like, I don't watch Netflix from my phone, so I'm not going to be watching The Breakfast Club anymore because it's only on Netflix. And that may be true. They may have lost you, but they have gained so much more, because they went from a nationally syndicated platform radio station. They started as a radio station, they got syndicated, then they went from radio to podcasting, then they went from radio, podcasting to TV. Mind you, they're not exiting from any of those things, they're just adding to. Now it's radio plus podcasting plus TV plus live streaming, right? And so now they're just amassing this huge, they already had millions of listeners on each episode, but now they're just going global, right? And to me, it just means that the opportunities for you are also endless. I just saw last week, Jay Shetty's now doing the same thing. When they made the announcement about the Breakfast Club, it was also a few other podcasters. I know Joe and Jada being one of them. And so now this is like they opened the floodgates and now there's going to be more opportunities. So are you structuring yourself like a typical regular podcast, the same stuff people were doing years ago that's kind of getting outdated now? Or are you structuring it as a podcast business, a podcast ecosystem, right? Because it's not just podcasting anymore. It's doing all of these things simultaneously and being across multiple platforms at the same time. So it's not just radio or podcasting, it's all of those things, just to reiterate. All right, let's get into a little bit of AI news, launches, and investments. NVIDIA drops Cosmos 3 for physical AI. NVIDIA shook up the entire AI landscape by launching Cosmos 3, a groundbreaking, fully open world foundation model built on a mixture of transformers architecture. It natively unifies vision, reasoning, world simulation, and action prediction across text, video, and ambient sound, slashing physical AI and robotics training cycles for months to mere days. You guys, the way things are moving in the world of AI is groundbreaking and for some people quite terrifying, right? And it's like everybody right now is having to pivot, no matter who you are, no matter if you are Meta or NVIDIA or StreamYard or Buzzsprout or Spotify, everybody's changing. YouTube, everybody's changing the way that they're doing things to try to keep up with AI because it's changing so quickly. The local personal agent revolution, NVIDIA and Microsoft have officially joined forces to reinvent the desktop experience. Hold on. Launching Windows PC custom built to run autonomous personal AI agents completely locally, powered by the RTX Spark superchip. These systems feature a massive 1 petaflop of AI performance, allowing creators to run massive processing tasks locally without sending sensitive data to cloud servers. Not my area of expertise, which is why I like talking about these things. So as I learn them, I'm also sharing them with you. And I don't expect all of us to know all of this stuff, but at least you need to have some wherewithal, some knowledge, so you can try to be ahead of the curve and not behind. What I do know, though, is the super chip conversation has been happening for ages, right? And some people equate the super chip to like the mark of the beast. If you are somebody that believes in Christianity beliefs. And it's a little nerving for some people, but also revolutionary again for others, especially in like the medical field and just technology in general across all industries. But that's something to also pay close attention to. RTX Spark Superchip. These systems feature a massive 1, I don't know what that means. Petaflop or petaflop? Hold on. You know, I like to ask ChatGPT. Hey, chat. So I'm reading something in front of my live stream audience, and I read something, came across it saying RTX Spark Superchip. These systems feature a massive 1 petaflop or petaflop of AI performance. Please explain.
Yeah, that sounds like some next level hardware. So a petaflop is basically a measure of computing speed. 1 petaflop means a system can perform a quadrillion, that's 1,000 trillion floating point operations per second. So when they say the RTX Spark superchip has 1 petaflop of AI performance, it means it's insanely fast, capable of running AI models and calculations at a scale that was once only science fiction. Basically, it's a beast for AI workloads.
Okay. I want to know, how does that also, because of course we hear that the use of AI is taking up the water supply. And so now that we're moving so quickly and it's 1 petaflop of AI performance, how does that also impact the water supply?
Good point. Yeah, the infrastructure behind AI is often pretty power hungry. A lot of these supercomputing centers need massive amounts of electricity, and that can require cooling systems, sometimes using a ton of water. So basically, the faster and bigger we scale AI, the more we need to be mindful of the energy and water usage tied to it. It's a balancing act, pushing innovation while making sure we don't drain other systems. So yeah, it's something we have to keep an eye on.
No, I want to know specifically if you can give me the numbers or the data of what is the equivalent. So how much water supply are we using for 1 petaflop?
So there isn't a precise number for how much water is used per petaflop, but we do know that large AI data centers can use massive amounts of water, up to 5 million gallons per day for a hyperscale AI facility. On average, data centers evaporate about 1 to 9 liters of water per kilowatt hour used, but it varies a lot by cooling tech, climate, and indirect manufacturing. So while we can estimate a rough ballpark, there's no standardized figure yet.
Okay, one last question. So like terabytes, gigabytes, and petaflop, are those synonymous?
Good catch. Nope, they're not the same thing at all. So gigabytes, terabytes, they're units of data storage, basically how much information you have. Petaflops, though, measure computational speed, like how many calculations a system can do per second. So one is about storing data, and the other is about how fast you crunch that data.
Okay, the bandwidth.
Yeah, bandwidth is another piece of the puzzle. It's basically how much data can be transmitted at once. Think of it as a highway for your data. So when you've got AI systems running at petaflop speed, you need huge bandwidth to feed all that data into the processor fast enough.
Okay, I think I get it. Thank you. All right, okay. So yeah, that's intense. But also important to note. I will say, if you guys don't know this, the top 1 podcast stats. So let's just say you never really looked into what it requires to be in the top 1%, top 5%, top 10, or 25. So I'm going to break that down very quickly. If you want to benchmark your show's true global standing, look at your first week's performance numbers. The download volume required to crack the elite tier of active podcasts relies heavily on early multi-platform momentum. So in layman's terms, especially for people who are just launching their podcast, and or when you do launch a new episode, how are you mobilizing people? What kind of strategy and tactics are you using to make sure you get the most reach as possible? So global rank tier, to be in the top 1% means that you get at least 4,824 downloads per episode within the first 7 days. The top 5%, meaning you get 1,101 downloads within the first 7 days. Top 10%, 471. Top 25, 114. Where do you guys fall on that ranking, that chart? The reality check, while there are 4.58 million registered podcasts globally, industry-wide data reveals that only 18% remain active and consistently updated. And I've done myself about 9 shows. I talk about this all of the time. I started with my OG podcast, the one that I did with my mother, the Mother and Daughter Duo podcast. Then we went to Life Unscripted with Dani Marie, Throw It Back Thursday, Follow Me Friday, Plan to Podcast, Talk Tacoma. None of those shows, full disclaimer, and this is not the first time I've said this, none of those shows I've done past like a year. I think with Plan to Podcast being the exception, which is why I continue to do this, but it just hasn't ever been consistent. Why? My thing hasn't necessarily been put out podcast episodes consistently until I land on what is now to come, the permanent podcast. And I gave you guys a little sneak peek last week when I talked about what I plan on doing, but I'll share it again. This is going to be more so like me going behind the curtains and actually dissecting different podcasts. So the Joe Budden podcast, going into their Patreon, pulling back the curtain, talking about their monetization strategy, their business model, and breaking all of that down. That's going to be the permanent podcast that I do. But before, podcasting was something that I did just so that I can get my reps in, so I can move into the coaching side, and so I can build the network, and so I can understand what the pain points are, and so I can build those things out, so I can get the hands-on experience to build the things that I want to build. So that's my North Star. My why is building something massive for indie podcasters, because I do think that there's an urgency for us to create more, have our own media platforms. We need to be sharing more, we need to be learning more, and we need to be doing it all very quickly, because there's a conscious effort and intentional effort to silence our voices, to push us out of this industry. And also the monetization is a huge factor as well, not just for me to earn, but for others to earn as well, right? And I think there's important storytelling that goes on with all of the responsible podcasters who use their platform responsibly. There should be more of us, and not just the one Black Effect podcast network that exists. There should be more networks out there. It's always just the token in everything. So that's my North Star. But now, after several years of podcasting, I'm going to be doing more of things permanently. So for you, your North Star might be, I want 10,000 episodes per episode because I want to get the biggest sponsor that I can get. That might be it for you. Or some other person, like shout out to Coach Memory, another person that I coach. Her thing is, I want to see more Black families reunited. So her North Star with her podcast, Elderhood, is building community first and speaking directly to people of color, right? So that also determines which platforms she uses. That determines how often she's putting out content. That also determines, the quality and caliber of content that she puts out. It determines what she talks about with her podcast. So some people, for vanity metrics, want to be within these global ranking tiers. For me, I don't care, because I'm building a community first. Get the community, everything else will follow suit. Other people are like, I want to get the sponsor. To me, most sponsors are not paying attention to you, especially because this is an oversaturated market. Most people are not paying attention to you until you build the thing, and then they see how credible you are, and then they come. I shared this the other day, which I know he's very accessible, but Alex, the founder of Podmatch, found me and reached out to me via email. I know I'm not the first person he's done that to, but I wasn't reaching out to him, asking him for anything. He found me, and that's how I believe it works. People will find you. They're paying attention to you. If you continue to do things consistently and at quality, they will find you. But a lot of times they're not going to approach you with anything unless you have a target audience, if you can clearly communicate, and if you have a track record. I've been doing the whole blogging thing. I've been doing the content thing and the social media thing and the podcasting thing. So if you look up, It Is I, Dani Marie, it is only one. You're going to see a whole list of me working and doing my thing, right? People have found me, reached out to me and said, I don't know who you are, but I just keep seeing your name pop up everywhere, for those people who are in podcasting. And that's how it should be, right? Your name should precede you, and people will eventually find you as long as you're consistently putting out quality work, or as long as you just remain consistent. All of that other stuff will come. All right, we're coming to a close. I like to do a podcast vocabulary word. So this is loudness, target, and loofs. So loudness, target, and loofs. I've never heard of this myself. I've heard of reverb, and all of those things, but this is new. The standardized measurement of perceived audio loudness used by distribution platforms to ensure consistent volumes across different podcast shows. So why it matters. Unlike peak decibels, which only measure the loudest spikes, loops measure how human ears actually experience the average volume over time. For an optimal listening experience across standard networks, the industry delivery benchmark is strictly negative 16 loops, loudness units full scale for stereo audio, or negative 14 loops, especially tailored for Spotify's native normalization. Did you guys know that? Did you know not only are they checking for everything else, but they're also checking the decibels and loudness and making sure it's refined across the board? So you can use tools like Audacity, GarageBand, Adobe Audition to kind of help level things out. So that is my first time hearing it. I have a few people on my squad who know more about engineering than I do. I did not know that. I did not know that they're checking the decibels level, and that was specifically on Spotify. That's really listed as really checking into stuff like that. So things to be mindful of. What I will say, in my group the other day, I made a post saying that, do you realize that there are some people who won't listen to you just because of the sound of your voice? Just irks them, turns them off. We can't change our voice, right? So just know that it's beyond your control if it's your voice and people just don't want to listen to the tonality of your voice, the cadence of your voice. People just won't listen simply because your voice is aggravating to them. Try not to take that all offensively, take it with a grain of salt, but also now adding to that the loudness target and loops, the decibels in your audio. There's some things that you can do to kind of help level out the sound quality. And if you know that you don't really have all of the equipment, you can use tools like the enhancer features to kind of help round out your audio. Make sure you're looking into your settings, depending on what tools you're using. Do your whole research on YouTube University to make sure you get it right. But that is why we talk about vocabulary terms, because some of us know these things, some of us don't. And I had no clue. All right. That said, the Jay-Z and Roots reunion at Belmont Plateau. Pop culture, hip hop, and music podcasts are completely dominated by the historic Roots Picnic 2026 recap, pulling over 80,000 attendees to its new Fairmont Park location. The festival hit critical cultural milestones, including Jay-Z performing with the Roots for the first time in over, I know it's been like 5 years since he's been on stage, or 5 years since he's been doing anything, I guess, to this magnitude. I don't know about the whole first time in over a decade to honor the 30th anniversary. I do know Roots said that they had a hard time getting Jay-Z, and finally it just kind of panned out. A massive 50th anniversary tribute to go-go music and a 30th anniversary tribute to, I don't know about that part, the Waiting to Excel soundtrack curated by Adam Blackstone. So I'm not sure, but that's according to the Inquirer. Erykah Badu closes out Philly Sunday night's closing headliner set by the queen of neo soul, Erykah Badu. Love of my life, you are my friend. I love me some Erykah Badu. They used to call me Erykah Ba. No, don't do it. Bag lady, you gon' hurt your back, carrying all them bags like that. So Erykah Badu has lifestyle, culture, and music roundtables analyzing her enduring impact on the independent music ecosystem and live cultural festival staging. That was on Metro Philadelphia. And the return of So Def era classic Jermaine Dupri's surprise Heavy Roots picnic set featuring live appearances from the Brat Bow Wow and Lil Jon, with Tyler, the creator, spotted cheering from the pit, has culture commentators tracking a massive wave of 90s and 2000s Speaking of 90s and 2000s, this isn't in there, but I know also Brandy performed this past weekend, and she had Monica, and they were wearing colors. Who were they wearing? Let me see. But that was really dope too. Brandy and Monica spotted this past week, performing this past weekend. Ooh. Okay, I'm not going to try to take up too much time trying to find that because I wasn't prepared. It was just my ADHD kicking in. But let me know if you guys saw Monica and Brandy because they look so dope. I just saw 90s and 2000s and thought that I would share that part. But you guys, hold on. I'm coming back to the comments. Do those big Black names help the whole Black podcast community? You know what? I like that question. And I think yes. And here's why. Though it doesn't feel like it directly trickles down to us, very indirectly. So I just think that, again, now we're on a new wave, right? So now it's like with the help of AI tools, with the help of all of these things, we it's not okay. Let me retract. The question was, do those big Black names help the whole Black podcast community? I will say respectfully, yes. So a lot of these podcasts would not be where they are if it wasn't for the Black Effect Podcast Network. Everybody from Drink Champs to I think Deontay Kyle's up there now, the Grits and Eggs podcast, Decisions. Some of our favorites, they're on the Black Effect Podcast Network. And then also, I know Charlemagne the God is always giving back. I know DJ Indy is always giving back. Whether that's the car shows that he does or Charlemagne the God doing his mental health, they're always doing something within the community, backpack giveaways and all kind of stuff. But in terms of the podcasting stuff, though we might not see it trickle down to us, you know, we were able to attend the Black Effect Podcast Festival and we were able to hear from some of the people that we listen to every day and they were able to give advice. I can't say that they necessarily gave advice that was new to me, but for some people, just to see them, right? Just to be in the room and feel like this is tangible. This is something that I can do. And then when it comes to the deal that they inked with Netflix, again, it might not impact us directly, but it just sets a new standard, right? It says like, this is what's possible and this is where the industry is moving towards. So I hope that addresses and answers the question. Joe Budden, you got to tell me what the Joe Budden, Joe Budden, I have to say, I didn't listen to Joe Budden's podcast until Mona got on there. And ever since Mona and Mark Lamont Hill got on there, I've been listening to the Joe Budden podcast almost every week. Maybe not since Mark Lamont, because I think he's been on there for maybe 2 years. So I haven't been listening to it, but definitely when Mona got on there. So they do a drop every Thursday and every Sunday. And while you critique, because I hear you say, Joe Budden, really, I used to despise Joe Budden, right? But when I found out how much money he was making in podcasting, my ears perked up a bit. So even though you don't necessarily like the person, doesn't take away from what they've built. And I'm a person that I'm very much chew the meat and spit out the bones. And the reason why I would be doing my research is because he's still a pioneer in podcasting. So you cannot, if you're going to do your education, you have to study the people you like and study the people you don't like. And I would be doing it for the sake of the podcast to educate and inform other people and talk about his business model, what's working, and how we can all use that and emulate that. So it's not necessarily that I like all of the people that I'm going to be following. And I think this is talking about when I mentioned him saying that I was going to go into his back end. Notice how I am not a part of his Patreon already. If I was a big fan, I would have already been a part of the Patreon. But yeah, I would go pay my $20, $30, $50. I don't even know how much it is. I would pay my money for that month to study what he's doing and then share that with people who aren't planning on paying that amount of money, but you want to learn and extract what you can from somebody like myself who's been in the game, who's been studying the game, who's researching. I would do that and deliver that information back to you. Yeah, so I love that. Some people don't know what's going on. Some people are stuck in their bubble. Some people just are trying to do their podcast and maintain their own podcast. But if you're looking to scale and you want longevity, you have to do your research. The other day, if you say you're a part of Podcast Peeps, I mentioned to the group, are you guys doing a SWOT analysis when you're looking into starting your own podcast? Many people would not correlate a SWOT analysis, meaning your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, because that's something we learn about business and marketing. It's not necessarily something we learn and apply to running your own podcast. But if you don't know what your competitors are doing in the same category as you, then you're not really a student of the game. You're not really studying. So that's what I was talking about. SWOT analysis, doing your own research, your research and development, studying and learning the game. Hello. I agree. If you're talking about these indie podcasters who just keep talking about the basic relationship stuff, so tired. I mean, I have some friends and I have some community members that they talk about relationships, but these are people who are not trying to use it just because it's popular, but they're actually carving out their own land and building their own quiet communities. But a lot of people are very stagnant. And a lot of people still are confused about what podcasting is, generally speaking. A lot of people say they have a podcast when really what you do is live stream. Like me, I've been live streaming for the past month or two now, and I haven't even put this up on my RSS feed. What makes a podcast is this RSS feed, real simple syndication. Not that you show up on video or whatever every day. Is it on an RSS feed? Is it a podcast platform? YouTube, thankfully, now has an RSS feed. They have podcasting now, but some people are still even confused about that. So there are a lot of people, which happens to be a lot of my audience, indie podcasters, independent podcasters, who are still very unclear about what they're doing. They're very stagnant. They're not researching. So that's why I try to be live every day, going over some of this stuff that feels bleh, but all of the technical stuff is stuff you need to know and stuff you should learn if you plan on having longevity in this space. You need to have a little bit of knowing of what's happening in the industry so you can try to stay ahead of the curve, right? How do you stand out amongst your competition? What makes you stand out? What's your unique value proposition? Not just your niche, but what do you do well? I think it's extremely important. So thank you all for listening. That was pretty much it. I need to get out and do what I need to do. I have a meeting at 2, somebody I'm supposed to be working with. I need to go hit the gym. It's June 1st. Get up. I should make this my song real quick. Hold on, y'all. Taking it back to Bone Thugs as we exit out. Again, I'm here every day, 12:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Talking to you all things AI, all things podcasting, and a sprinkle of pop culture, because these are the things that we talk about on our podcast. And by the way, I used to be on multiple platforms because I was paying that $88 a month for StreamYard. I let my plan lapse and I'm like, do I want to renew it or not? Because I was testing out StreamYard. I was on StreamYard, then they added all this new stuff. I came back to StreamYard. $88 to be across various platforms. I'm not sure it was worth it, but it is. It is. So I will be back on LinkedIn, back on Substack, back on Facebook and Twitch, probably starting tomorrow. I go back and forth between Substack, Zoom, recording on Zoom, using StreamYard, or just live streaming on YouTube. I've just tried different variations, but I like StreamYard. The price is steep, but I'm going to do it. But on the exit, I just wish you all, let me know what you, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the pushback. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate you in the comment section. Let me make sure I'm following you. I don't know if I could do it from here. I should have been sharing this. Hold on, because I'm on YouTube right now. Tell us what your podcast is about, by the way. Bad Guys Pod. I appreciate you. You don't know. Okay, got
What
you.
was that? Did you actually have any kind of sexual relationship?
Ooh, my bad. So I just subscribed to you. Much appreciation. You probably found me on Threads. And I'm going to be responding to everybody in just a moment on Threads. But I like what I see too. Just from that, because you talk a lot about pop culture, from what I could tell. Because the first thing I saw was the Diddy, Superhead, Kareem Steffens, and Diddy. And if that was a long time ago. And now everything that's unfolded. All right. So much respect to you. Hello also to Mimi Too Sweet. Much appreciated. Mimi Too Sweet was saying it's important to do your own research and due diligence, especially, again, if you want to scale, right? Some of us are playing, and that's why I try to differentiate and say, if you want to turn from hobby podcaster into a business, because if you don't know, there's at least 8 different revenue streams that you can get from podcasting. Can't say that I'm getting all of this amount of money from all 8 streams, but when we talk about revenue streams and having multiple revenue streams, we always say you need about 7 different streams of income that's coming from all over. You can definitely get that from podcasting, whether it's the affiliates, ambassadors, your webinars, your coaching, your merch, monetize on social media. Then you get your ad revenue. So there's so many different ways that you can monetize, but you can't do it all if you're still playing small and doing this as a hobby podcaster. So I'm talking to the people that is trying to turn this into a professional parlay. When I started, it was during the pandemic when I was basically pushed out. I was working 2 full-time jobs. I share that story all of the time. And the pandemic happened, and then I fell flat on my behind because I got laid off from one job, and then the other one laid me off about a year later, right? So this has been what I've been doing since the pandemic, basically, and I take it very seriously. All of that said, blessings and respect to all of you. I'll be back tomorrow, 12:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time across various platforms. I appreciate you. You have an amazing day.